Life is growth. You grow or you die. Well, everybody, hello. How were the last couple of weeks? Did you get a lot of good value from Wendy and Betsy? Are you excited? Are you any of you excited about Fellow? Yeah, it's pretty cool, right? Like Wendy loves it. She talks about it a lot. So, I'm glad that they were here. So, okay, well, welcome back. It's a small crowd. Just because I haven't seen your faces in so long, if you're here and you can turn on your camera, I would love you because I haven't seen your faces in a very long time and I would love to see some faces today. Thanks for those of you that I do see. Okay, so we want to do a little bit of a mastermind today because there's a lot going on in the industry, right? There's a lot going on. And, I think with what's coming up August 5th, my market is August 15th. Technically it's August 17th on a national level, but there's a lot of things that are going to be changing, right? And with that is coming with change always comes a lot of emotional feelings. Some people get really excited about change. Some people get really nervous about change. Some people get very apprehensive. But usually with a lot of change comes a lot of, this misinformation, good information. Just there's a lot going on, right? So I wanted to kind of get a gauge from everyone today. How are you feeling about August 17th? How many of you are excited? Raise your hand if you're excited. I am one of those. I'm super excited. I think change is a good thing. I adapt really easily to change. Literally, I read a book. I'm reading, what is this book called? Shoe Dog by Phil Knight. It's the story of Nike. And in it, he said something today super profound. And he was like, I wrote it down. Life is growth. You grow or you die. That's your option. So change is the same way for me. So I'm really excited. How many of you are feeling a little apprehensive, nervous? How many of you are, okay, Brittany, Evangelia, thank you for being honest. How many of you are feeling like, Sumo, go ahead. What were you going to say?
I'm just curious. I'm not nervous. I'm not excited. Just curious what is going to go there and, what we are going to face.
Yeah, how it's going to change, right? Like, it's just kind of curious. I think that's a really good emotion as well, a really good feeling, a good descriptor. I also, as much as I'm excited, I also am curious.
Yeah.
I think we'll see, I think we're going to see it. We're going to see like the best of the best come through right now. I think that one thing that I've noticed is I think moving forward, landing a buyer is going to be just like landing a listing. So if you have not spent your time learning how to land clients, right? If you haven't put systems in place to learn how to land clients, I think you're going to see that that's going to be really important moving forward. I think, here's I'll tell you a little how it's changing in my MLS. So my MLS is not a NAR affiliated MLS. Therefore, we do not have to opt into the NAR settlement, and we did not. So we are still displaying commission in my MLS, which I am super happy for. I think that that's the one thing that I think is going to cause a lot of issues is that lack of transparency. I think that having the commission displayed, compensation displayed, some people are saying, don't say the word commission anymore, but I get paid, my compensation is commission, so I'm okay saying that word. But I think having compensation displayed is very transparent to the buyer. Now, what's going to change for us, and tell me what's changing for you guys but what's going to change for us is that for our sellers, you have to remember that in my MLS, since October of 2019, we have been very clear on our listing agreements and have separated out buyer's agent commission and seller's agent commission. So it has not been a one lump sum. And that's where I think the transparency issue comes from, is that from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of markets have done a full commission. So let's just say your commission total is like 6%, for example. You just it's been told to the seller the commission rate is 6% without being clear about where that's being split. So that's what we did in 2019 to kind of combat that, is we said, no, okay, sellers, you don't actually have to pay a commission. It's actually not been a requirement for us for quite a long time. So this is not a new conversation for us at all. The newness for us is coming from now. Our sellers get to decide up front, do they want to pay a commission? If so, how much do they want to pay? Okay. Do they not want to pay a commission, period? Or do they want the buyer's agent to negotiate their own commission? So now instead of our sellers only having 2 options, our sellers now have 3 options. So I'm excited for our sellers too, because now they have more options, right? And I think this is where I was talking before, where like, you as a buyer's agent now are going to have to land your clients, right? If especially for our MLS, I think that we'll probably see a lot of like sellers wanting buyer's agents to negotiate their own commission. I think that's what we'll probably see a lot more of. And that's where, as a buyer's agent, you have to have packages, you have to have options, you have to have reasons why a client is going to be paying you. So that's what I think is going to be happening in my market. I know Molly's in my market too. I don't think anyone else here is in my market. So I don't know what your markets are doing. But, I'd love to hear from you. What's happening in your market? What are you doing to kind of like set yourself up for success? Because like I just said, you either grow or you die, right? Life is growth. You grow or you die. So what are you doing to grow through this? Because I don't want to see any of you die out. So I want to see you all grow. So what are you doing to grow through this?
Yeah. I had a listing appointment yesterday. And my seller told, no, we don't want to give the commission to the buyer agent. We are hearing so many news. Then I told, yeah, you are right. The news is like that. But you can decide, like, when you receive the contract, whether you want to give or how much you have to give, you can decide. I told like that, and I just took the listing. You pay me 2.5% for my efforts, and buyer agent, you can decide when the offer comes.
That's what we're doing, because they keep saying we're not allowed to like talk about, how you're going to need to pay this. Like I just say they may be asking for their agents, commission to be paid through the offer.
Yeah.
And they're literally not giving us like, okay, I'll pay 3, I'll pay 2. And I don't really want them to, because let's say agents are calling me, blowing up my phone like they are, saying how much is the, owner paying? And I say they've agreed to pay 3%, but then they come in $50,000 low, right? The owner ain't paying that commission. Right. You know what I mean? So we're just saying, the owner is taking into consideration all offers. So bring it, highest and best, let's go, That way you're not getting in trouble for, well, you said they were going to pay 3%. Well, you were supposed to send in a good fucking offer. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to be doing that because my license isn't worth it. So anyway, I'm like, yep, this is how much I charge. And then, you're probably going to see something on the offer for the buyer's agent. Maybe not.
Yeah. We actually started seeing that this year, like where buyer's agents are now committing there's a form that they submit that actually has the buyer's broker commission. We've actually seen a lot more of those for all of my listings this year. I've actually seen that on every single one of my listings, that the buyer broker wants more commission than what the seller was offering. So I think that we're already like our buyer in my market, I'm noticing that. I mean, I've done it too as a buyer's agent. I've also submitted, I want more, that my client has agreed to more. I want the seller to pay for it. But I think that that's what we're seeing. So I think that, if you have been mostly a buyer's agent and haven't ever really had to talk about commission, I think you're going to have to get really comfortable with it right now. Super comfortable, because now you've got to like basically tell your clients why do you deserve that percentage? Because to Wendy's point, okay, I want this percent, right? But you need to pay me this regardless, because even if I'm going to negotiate a $50,000 low price point for you, you need to understand that that's my negotiation skills. If I can get this for you, that's going to be more of a reason to earn more compensation from your buyer, right? So I think you have to get really, really, really comfortable with commission conversations.
Right. And on the BBA, And you all know I hate VBAs, and I've been working for 20 years without one. So, but, I just brought it up, and I was like, okay, yep, we charge, this percent. We're not allowed to say anything. So we charge so many apples, right? And I'm going to ask the seller to pay for that. If I don't get it, you're going to have to pay either the difference or the full amount, depending on, what we negotiate. And I'm just like, because, we're for free. So this is what we're doing. This is what we charge. But I'm going to do my best to get it paid for by the seller. I mean, and, obviously everything's up for renegotiation when offers, get submitted. So
what I'm wondering about, this is kind of where I'm like, So, let's think about this is till now, home prices have always included a broker commission, right? And so now if we're going to start deducting some of that from what's being offered, is anyone else wondering what's going to happen to home prices? Has anyone else thought about that?
I think it will come down.
You think it'll what? Sorry, Suma?
It will come down.
You think they'll come down?
Yeah.
We've had appraisers calling us because they took out concessions.
Yeah.
Right? They took out commissions. Like they took out everything, and the appraisers can't figure out what was what. So every single deal they're working on, they're calling all the agents that were comps to find out what was paid.
Yeah. I think, Debbie, go ahead.
I heard something really awesome from Alex Mayer earlier in the week. He was saying how you word things matter. And I absolutely agree. So he had a situation where he represented the buyer, and they went and looked at a FSBO. And the seller of the FSBO was adamant about not paying commission. So he said, no problem. My buyer is covering my commission. Will you cover their closing costs? And it's kind of like closing costs, or will you give them a credit for this to go towards their closing costs? And essentially, it's almost like the same value. I think it's pretty close in some situations. And so depending on how you word it and how you do it, they went into contract.
Yeah, I think that's a really good
point. Was absolutely down for it. He just had a real hang up with, I am not paying commission. Okay, yeah, don't pay commission. Pay closing costs. It was like nearly the same amount. So being creative in how you present it, because there might be people that are really super adamant about not paying commission. And so then it's like, do the calculation and see how it pans out to pay closing costs instead, or word it as closing costs instead. And then, that way it's the psychology of it, right?
The other thing, I had talked to a lender yesterday, because I'm just curious, like, is there anything on the lending side, if a buyer doesn't have, like, if it's a down payment assistance, right? So a lot of VA buyers, if they're first-time buyers, don't have cash, or like we have a really heavy down payment assistance market here. I don't know about you guys, but that's going to be really hard for those particular buyers because there isn't a cash thing. And so the great news is that the VA now said that, buyers agents can now pay toward their agents. They used to not, like they weren't actually held accountable before to that or for earnest money, but now the buyers, VA said they can be, which is great. But talk to your lenders too, because if your buyer has any sort of amount of cash down, there are ways that they can structure loans. And your lenders are going to be really good partners for you guys right now. I talked to 3 of my lenders yesterday. And one of them came back. She's like, hey, I have some ideas for you. And she actually sent me her mortgage coach program with like a few different structures and like, hey, this is how we can structure it. So maybe as you're writing offers, you might want to consider asking the seller about this. So to Debbie's point, Alex's point, it's about how you word it and how you structure it. Yeah. So you might want to talk to your lenders too, to kind of get on the same page with them about, what kind of creative structuring can we do right now?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's coming up. NAR. Love it. We all got to talk about it. And as we start to move on, I want to kind of continue the conversation because I do feel like we're about to see some big changes in our industry just overall. And I kind of want to see how all of our markets are adapting. I actually, if you watched my Instagram or my Facebook stories, I was on a Facebook group, like a local community group, not a real estate group. And someone had asked, like, how do real estate agents get paid nowadays? Because she hadn't sold a house in a while. She's getting ready to sell a house. And it was interesting how, like, the general population who are not real estate agents all had different perceptions of what this settlement is. Like, every person who's not in real estate had a different perception. And I think even real estate agents have a different perception, which is very interesting. So I think, like, if you are one of those real estate agents who's not quite clear about what's going on right now, do us all a favor, you and all of us on this call, and do some research and do some learning. So you can be educated, because we're going to run into, I think over the next 6 months, we're going to run into a lot of misinformation. I mean, let's just be real. There's a lot of misinformation about everything right now. Like, I literally, when I was in Spain, I turned off social media. I was so sick of it. Like, I was like, okay, you guys, we're literally getting mad about things that had nothing to do with us personally. We are emotionally invested in things that have nothing to do with us. So I would just say, like, over the next 6 months specifically, I really want to encourage you guys to get your mind in the right spot. Because as we get closer to November, we're going to start seeing a ton more. Like, my YouTube, like, everything is just like I'm just being flooded with what other people want me to see. Right. I heard something really good this morning. I was listening to a Jay Shetty podcast, and Michelle Obama was the guest speaker, and she said something really, really, like, which I loved. And she was like, one of the issues that we have as a society is that we only educate ourselves on things that we believe in. Would you agree with that? Mm-hmm. I mean, even me, like, sometimes I'm like, wow, that's really right. It's like, we only educate ourselves on things that we believe in. We don't want to educate ourselves on things that we don't believe in, but that means that we are not educated. So it's actually the opposite of education. So, if there's something that you're trying to understand, if there's something that's, like, kind of like, why is it, what's going on, learn about it. Learn about other people. Like, when you're learning, like I talk a lot about, like, the disc profile, right? And I talk a lot about, like, I just wait for Lynea to tell me. I talk a lot about the disc profile, because of the reason, like, I'm going to tell you where this is going in just a second, but the reason I talk about the disc is because, like, there are certain personality types that it's really hard for me to deal with. Would you all agree with that?
Yes, 100%.
Okay. But is every single personality type what makes us human? Do you all want to be exactly like me? No. The answer is no. No, you don't want to be exactly like me. Okay. The answer is no. Okay. Do you all want to be exactly like, look at everyone, look to your right on your screen. Who's sitting to your right? Do you want to be exactly like that person? Okay. What makes you uniquely you? Have you ever answered that question for yourself? What is great about being me? Why are you laughing?
So funny. I don't even know what to say. What's great about being me?
Maybe we should all answer that right now. What is great about being me? Because if you can't answer that, then how are other people going to want to know why they should want to work with you or be in your life or be in your circle? Yeah. What is great about being me? And then, what is hard about being me? And the reason why I think both of those questions are important is because when you think about, like, what's great, like I just said, like, if you know what's great about being you, then you're going to attract more people who want that. Right? What's great about being me is I'm super driven. There is not a lot of people that are more driven than me. And I say that not with, like, an ego, but I say that with confidence. I am a very, very, very driven person. That drive comes from deep within me. That's like something you can never take away from me. You can take everything away from me. You can take away my house, my money, my freedom, but you're never going to take away my drive. And that's what's great about me. So you've got to have that about you. You've got to feel that intently about you. And then what's not great about me is I'm a hot freaking mess. My desk, my freaking office is a mess. Y'all think I'm super organized? Everyone looks at me like, well, yeah, you're so organized. I'm like, oh my God, do you know what goes on inside this brain? You know how many thoughts probably come in this brain every single day? And I actually try to answer all the questions that come in my brain every day. It's like, boom, boom, boom. It's like a ping pong ball in my brain. Okay? I'm not one of those people who has a calm brain. There's a lot of people, I'm like, oh God, I would love to have a calm brain. I love it. Not going to happen. It's just not me. Okay? So you got to answer those things. What is great about being me and what is not so great about being me? Because the things that's not so great about being you, the reason why that's important is because you want to find people who don't have that trait. But you ever heard the term opposites attract?
Yeah. Yes.
Like the older I get, the wiser I become, the more I understand what that means. Right? As when I was in my 20s, I would have said, oh yeah, opposites attract means that, you know, I like to go to bed early, you like to wake up late. Or you like to go to bed late. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay? But as I get older, the more I really understand the meaning of opposites attract and why we need the balance. We need those other people in our life. So when you can answer the question, what is not so great about being me? It's not only going to help you in your personal life, but it's also going to help you in your business and helping you to have these conversations with your clients as to why they should work with you over someone else. You're also going to feel more confident in being able to present what you do for your clients. How many people are excited about interest rates kind of on a downward trend right now? How many of you want your buyers to get off the fence now? Because if they continue on a downward trend where the train's going to run into a wall, and that wall's probably going to be beginning of November, and then it's going to be dead. The market's going to die after November. Well, maybe it'll die the month before November and then pick up after November. I don't know. Okay, but interest rates down 0.625%. Do you have your lenders reaching out to you right now, trying to come up with different ways to help connect with your clients? Lynea the only one who said yes to that. Yeah. If y'all have a preferred lender and you send them business all the time and they are not reaching out to you right now to help you figure out how they can help you connect with your clients, and you need to find a new lender. I work with quite a few lenders, you guys, and I had one of them reach out to me and say to me, hey, can we connect this week? I'd love to figure out if I can help connect to people that we've talked to. If there's anyone that should have on the fence, I'd love to reach out to them myself and see if I can help. I have a lender who's hosting a webinar every Wednesday. She's like, look, I'm doing a webinar. It's a standing webinar every Wednesday, 6%. Get a mortgage in today's market with 2023 or 2021 rates is what she's calling it. She's doing that. She's like, look, if you have some buyers who are on the fence, she's like, I'll do this for you. Just send them to my webinar every Wednesday at 6 p.m., Wednesday at 6 p.m., Wednesday at 6 p.m. So she and I yesterday got together and we said, okay, let's come up with a series of emails. So, you know, I have 7,500 people in my database. So we put up a series of emails and text messages to invite people. It was, if you want 2021 rates in 2024, come to this webinar and learn how. Do you have lenders who are doing something like that right now? Find yourself a new lender. Or talk to the ones that you work with and tell them, like, hey, like, you know, you guys, your lenders right now, there's a lot of lenders who are really struggling. They need us more than anything. So if they want us, they want what we have, which is leads and clients. Okay, they need to work for that. So if you have one that you love because they're amazing, I say it with a grain of salt when I say it very easily, finding a lender or make them step up. Make them step up. Because I'm telling you, this whole like webinar every Wednesday at 6 p.m., I'm like, oh my God, that's so smart. And she's like, yeah, I like to work smarter, not harder. She's like, I don't want to be meeting people. I don't want to be going to meetings going to meetings here, driving here. I'm like, I get it. Stay with me. But I like to do everything on video, except for like a listing walkthrough. It's the only thing I like to do in person. Everything else is on video.
So webinars are so much better than in person. Getting buyers and sellers to come to an actual in-person seminar,
It's hard.
I mean, you'll get a lot of signups, but will they actually show up? That's
And then like the other thing that she's doing, which I thought was really cool, is she's like not recording it. So like, will this be recorded? She's like, nope. But she's also not telling them that it's every Wednesday at 6 p.m. She's like, Wednesday at 6 p.m. come and learn. And she's been doing it for a couple of months. And then like she said the last couple of months, she started to get more and more attendance. She gets a lot of signups, right? But now she's actually getting more attendance because she's like, no, it's not recorded. You're not going to get a replay. As a person who hosts calls, I hear it all the time. I know Wendy does it too all the time. Oh, I can't make it, but is there going to be a replay? I'm like, of course there's going to be a replay for you. But if there wasn't, could you make it? Probably.
I know, nothing is guaranteed. Zoom sometimes does not record even if you press record.
Yeah, Wendy had that happen.
Like numerous times. We learned that you got to record, stop, and then record again. And then it holds it.
Yeah, and Zoom, like if you record it and then you stop and you record again, it's going to pull it into one session versus like splitting up into two. I had to do that when I record like trainings for my course. I have to like record it and then close it out and then start a new one.
You got to close it all the way out, then start, and then it'll record. I know.
Yeah. So anyway, Anna, I don't think she does loans in Florida. I'm sorry. I know she works Washington and Oregon. And she might work California. So if you guys want to connect with her in Washington, Oregon, or California, I would love to. She's awesome. Like she's really super creative. And when I hear her talk about interest, when I hear her talk like a mortgage lender, I'm like impressed every time. Every time. Because like you guys, I talk about data all the time, but when I hear her talk about it, I'm like, dude, I'm stupid. You know what I mean? I'm not really, but you know what I mean? Like I don't feel like I'm the smartest person in the room, which I love. I don't want to feel like the smartest person in the room. So like if you guys have there's a really good idea for you. Wendy just said, Anna, she has a lender there. And John will probably do what I'm talking about too. John's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's in like 14 or 16 states. So I've been working with him 15 years. He is amazing. And he's got some pretty good products. They just moved to VIP mortgage and even better rates than Fairway. So I'm excited about that. So we're going to, you're more than welcome to hop on our meeting next Monday with him. If you want to come meet him, let me know.
Yeah, everybody. I think that invite goes for everybody. It's not just for Anna.
Right. Anna's VIP.
As VIP, so VIP, we're going to tell everybody and not tell anybody that let him feels count. Okay, so walking away from today, how many of you are going to make some immediate changes in something that you do for your buyers? Whether it be the way you present to your buyers, the way you talk about compensation with the buyers, the way that you recreate your buyer presentations.
Yeah.
The way that you approach your buyers. So the thing is, like, you know, is dual agency allowed in all of your states? Are you guys all dual agency states?
California, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So we are here too. Yeah. So I think I think there's a couple like maybe in the Midwest or the South that aren't dual agency. But I think like, you know, also you may also want to think about that as a listing agent, dual agency. You know, what does that look like for you? Like if you now have to be a dual agent, what does that look like for you and for your seller? Like as far as financially? Because like, you know, let's just be real. Dual agency opens up a lot of liability.
Correct. And it might delay the escrow also. It might delay the escrow. You know, loan approval you don't have, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually had a couple this last year that were potential dual agents, and I actually referred it out. I didn't want it.
Yeah.
And then Debbie, Debbie made a fantastic point. As usual, Debbie always says like a mic drop. I wish I would have done some role play before my first convo with a buyer about the BBA.
I fumbled it horribly yesterday. Horribly. Thankfully, I had rapport with them and I'd been showing them houses for the last month or so. And I've kind of waited till the last minute to present this because everything started changing. Like, oh, wait, now we have to do this. Oh, wait, now we got to add this. And I didn't want to have those supplemental conversations along the way. I wanted it to be closer to like the more final. And so yesterday I was like, hey, when you have a minute, give me a call. And so he called me on his lunch break. And I was trying to make it short and brief. And thankfully, they were already like down with using me and cool with me. And they got approved for the Dream for All program, which nobody in Fresno has been approved for that for their loan. And it's probably going to be tough because it's a down payment assistance program. And so it was just, I was having a hard time making it flow. And I kind of was like, those kind of stumbles. And I was like, you know what, you guys just, if you want to relay it to your wife and then maybe we can revisit it on Monday. And I was like, oh my God, I've got to practice this. This is horrible. He didn't ask any questions, thank God, but like, it was horrible. For me, it was horrible. It probably wasn't that bad because that was my point. Absolutely my worst critic, but I just felt like I could have presented it much better than I did.
I'm going to give you all a little tip about the buyer broker agreement because I've been doing this. This has like been part of my practice since I got my license. Okay. Record a training video about the buyer broker agreement. And before you go meet with your buyer, also, do you want to save time? You want to stop working as much? I'm going to tell you how to do it right now. Okay. Record a training video about the buyer broker agreement. You should do this for your PSAs as well, like purchase and sale agreements. Then, before you go to your appointment with your buyer, which should be a video call, unless you love to be in person, tell them, hey, 2 days before our call, or a couple hours before our call, if the appointment's tomorrow, for example, okay? And sometimes, remember, every time you have a system, it doesn't work 100% of the time, so adapt. But before the appointment, make sure that they get a copy of that training video and tell them they have to watch it. I need you to watch this. I need you to review a blank buyer broker agreement. So send them a blank PDF, review it so they can look at it, watch your training video, and look at the agreement. Then you don't have to worry.
I'm going to send them the form and the video after. So I should have done that first.
Yeah. Send it before because then you don't fumble through it. Then your call is really easy. It's a, hey, Debbie, did you get a chance to watch the video that I sent you? Yeah, I totally did. Great. What questions do you have for me?
Yeah.
The conversation is so much easier than, oh, I need to review this contract with you, sign an agreement to work with me. Okay. So there you go. Little tip for you. Do that. Okay. Everyone, I hope this was helpful for you. I loved, obviously we're back, so I love it. But I hope it was all helpful for you. And I will see you next week.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
If you'd like more information or to get connected to the Agent Power Huddle, join our free Facebook group. This call was designed for the agents in our EXP organization, but open to any agent from any brokerage. If you're a guest and you're interested in learning more about EXP or our specific resources within the Agent Collective, reach out to the person who invited you to this call to get more info. Produced by the Agent Collective Media Network.